on Counters Company, and we have Ted Feleceti on 4-color mid-range. Now, their opponents are going to be the team of Harlan Fear, Brad Carpenter, and Ali Aintrazi. They're playing Grixis Delver. So Grixis Delver mirror, a Counters Company mirror, and then we have 4-color mid-range versus Teamer Aetherworks Marvel.
Not surprising to see Feleceti playing mid-range creatures.
I'm going to start off Birds of Paradise for both players. Brad Carpenter further develops the mana with Noble Hierarch on the second turn. And he'll pass, looks like a Eternal Witness and some lands in Carpenter's hand right now. Could really use a Collected Company.
Frequently, you'll see a player that's playing a Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch deck. They would cast the Hierarch with the land and attack with the birds. Looks like Carpenter's planning on drawing a card with the Horizon Canopy, and he does exactly that. Yeah, Kassis played a Devoted Druid for his second turn, which means he's only 1 card off of infinite mana.
This is going to be this is going to be a big part of Modern. If both these players are playing it, I'm wondering just how much the room thinks this is broken. For the record, Carpenter was on a mulligan, so he used his Horizon Canopy, as you mentioned there, now Shocks for Godless Shrine. That's really suggesting he has Collected Company.
Mm-hmm.
And we might get to see our first look at Modern's new combo.
Yeah, so back to Ely. We'll see if he has the Vizier.
Plays his own Windswept Heath. Yeah, I don't believe he has the Vizier. He has Court of Calling in his hand, though, which actually is good enough to make infinite mana. Is this going to be a turn 3 kill? Hold on a second. So he can court up that Vizier right now.
I don't believe that he can make a lethal attack on this turn. He has the Wolf Run, so if he has one of the creatures in his hand, he can go for that.
Well, he can't attack, but if he gets Vizier, then he makes a bunch of green mana. Then he casts a Collected Company's hand. If that company hits Duskwatch or Walking Ballista, that's lethal.
Right. If he had natural Vizier, he has lethal with Wolf Run this turn.
Right, so that would do it too. This is very powerful.
He has to be concerned Carpenter's mana is all untapped. So there could be some kind of like a Path to Exile company and some kind of creature that breaks this up, like a Fiend Hunter, for example.
So Ely's not playing any paths in the main deck. He just has the chords and the companies. Do you think he fears it out of Brad? Or is this list known enough where he's like, no, I'm not playing it, Brad's probably not either?
I think that most lists are mostly just these spells that are very dedicated to the combo, but once you know about that, you start to iterate for the mirror. Brad Carpenter is the kind of guy that's going to be up on this kind of stuff, might have some kind of tech for the mirror match here. Though when you have access to the combo, it's hard not to just go for it.
So Devoted Druid makes a green. And he'll cast Collected Company. So he was deciding, I think, whether he wanted to Company first or Company second. And he decides he's going to start on Company. Remember that Devoted Druid can make 1 more mana. So if he gets 2 creatures, he still has enough to chord for 2.
He already used the Druid for 2 mana. There's the -1/-1 counter.
Oh, you're
already.
right. Okay.
So he's down to 2 mana now.
Looks like he's going to find Renegade Rallier, getting back a land, and nothing else. So that's a pretty big miss here for Ely Kassis.
Mm-hmm.
It means that he's likely unable to kill this turn. He has another Renegade Rallier in hand. Suppose he could cast that to get a land back again.
Card that used to be played in basically every Abzan Company deck was Orzhov Pontiff. That would be very powerful here. It's not in Carpenter's deck, though. Yeah. He does have a Fiend Hunter hanging out somewhere.
Another Devoted Druid for Ely Kassis. And now Brad's going to try to set up some combo here. He'll go for Collected Company. He sees Anafenza Kintree Spirit. Vizier of Remedies, that's half. Does he find Devoted Druid? Kitchen Finks. Hand has Eternal Witness in it, so could go for some company again if you can just get mana down. But between Anafenza Finks, I guess Anafenza Finks is a combo. So is Vizier Finks.
However, this deck no longer plays Viscera Seer. Oh, I'm sorry. There's 2 there's 2 copies in here. I went over the list.
Yeah, Carpenter is, Kassis is not. So it's going to be, looks like Anafenza and Vizier were the takes for Carpenter. He didn't really see a need for Kitchen Finks. if this is, the players are playing this like the board doesn't matter, where they're just trying to combo each other.
Yeah, you have to imagine that the majority of these mirrors are going to end in one player comboing.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the case with a lot of these company mirrors. This feels more of a combo-centric build than we've seen in a while out of this deck.
And Carpenter's deck has the infinite life combo. Kassis doesn't have access to any way to generate infinite life.
Well, Kassis has infinite damage, which means the second, that benefits Kassis. No matter how high Brad goes in life, Ely can go higher with damage.
However, I suppose if the combo is the ballista combo, Kassis can just gun down the combo creatures and then make it larger.
Yeah.
If it's just Wolf Run, though, he won't be able to punch through the combo remaining on the table.
Carpenter casts Eternal Witness, getting back company. He doesn't have enough mana to replay it, so he just says go. Didn't even bolster off the Eternal Witness. Wow.
No need.
Technically a miss, but I don't think that's really not what this game's going to come down to. And Kassis, he drew something. We'll see. Oh, yeah, I suppose with that Wolf Run up, this is just lethal. The Wolf Run kill you're talking about. Here's Court of Calling. And so we're going to see our first combo. Court of Calling for Vizier of Remedies. The Vizier plus Devoted Druid makes an infinite mana. Okay, but he's not even going to go for the attack. Here's Duskwatch Recruiter with his infinite mana.
You don't want to get condemned.
No, and I think in this matchup, we're going to see this kill, and then Walking Ballista shoots Brad for 18. Or more, so game 1 to Ely Kassis. This interaction seems really good. I like that he also could have killed with Wolf Run if he didn't have Recruiter in his hand. That one, you're right, could have lost. But it turns out to be a turn 4 for Ely Kassis. Yeah. This deck's really powerful.
Yes. 2-card combo that just needs some supplement and two mana creatures. Pretty easy to execute.
A pair of 2-drops that make infinite man. Okay. I suppose just turn 2 Devoted Druid threatens lethal very quickly. We're going to look at their sideboards here. They're actually very different. So let's start with Kassis' sideboard. He's got 3 Rest in Peace, 3 Blood Moon, 2 Reclamation Sage, a Harsh Mentor. That's a card on the new set. We'll get to that in a second. Auriok Champion, Burnt Forge Tender, Cunning Spark Mage, Linvala, Aven Mind Sensor, and Eidolon of Rhetoric. There are some real good ones here for the matchup.
Cunning Spark Mage kills a lot of the stuff. It even takes care of Vizier of Remedies. Though once your opponent starts making mana, they can just do that in response.
Right.
So that one's dicey. It does kill mana creatures, so it's pretty powerful. Linvala is a slam dunk in these kinds of matchups.
Linvala's great. It turns off opponent's abilities. Now, what about Harsh Mentor? I'm actually thinking this is going to be good in the matchup.
It just checks opponent's stuff, right? This is one of these newfangled New Age cards that only hurts your opponent when you do things.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then it just kills your combo opponent and you can still combo. Seems pretty good here.
Yes, because the untap ability on Devoted Druid isn't mana. So, yeah, you can't combo with that on the table.
And Avid Mind Sensor is reasonably strong in this matchup. It makes Court of Calling a lot worse out of Carpenter's deck.
Now, Brad Carpenter's sideboard, a different approach, but one that might be even better here. 3 Path to Exiles. And I just want to start there by saying that I think that's going to be very good in this matchup.
Yeah, being able to break up the combo at instant speed for 1 mana, very powerful.
A bunch of things, some creature-based, Voice of Resurgence, Distended Mindbender, Sin Collector, Scavenging Ooze, Kasali Pride Mage, Abrupt Decay, Maelstrom Pulse, Sigarda, Host of Herons, and then Kumbal, Council of Allocation. That's the 3-mana black-white card from Kaladesh.
That one doesn't really play here. Abrupt Decay is another way to break up the combo. Seems pretty strong. There's some argument for Sin Collector to try to collect a company. It's a little loose, but it's fine. Distended Mindbender can really break up a hand. That one also is just kind of fine. Mostly we're looking at the pass and the Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, Maelstrom Pulse is too slow or probably still fine here?
It's really slow. It's probably like an in on the play, out on the draw kind of thing.
Over in Standard, we have a game result as well. Ted Feleceti, along with his teammate, now also up a game. So the Kassis and Carpenter are going to get ready for a second game. We're going to talk about Star City Games game night. That is, of course, exclusive pins and tokens given out at tournaments all across the country. Weekly. For May, we have the Imperious Perfect. That's being given out right now. It's an elf warrior. It's also a cat. So we have that one given out. Next month, we will switch over to the Murderous Red Carp. What was before Modern Stay, but I don't know. Players aren't playing it this weekend, but this fish is still here. You can still get him.
It kills Devoted Druid.
I do like that. This is part of the a lot of times your Obzon Company decks. And in July, we have our next one we're going to do. This is the Goose of Saint Traft. It's very close to a Geist, but this one is a bird. It's also 4/4 Flying Angel. If you get signed up now, you can get a store registered in time to give away this one come July.
This one just works. That is some nice wordsmithing.
I do like this one.
It's easier to say than Murderous Red Car. This is a toss-up. These might be my two favorite of all times.
The Geist, yeah, the Goose.
Goose. It's just, instead of him having a ghost, it just has a goose.
Yeah. All right, game 2 between the two players. Brad Carpenter's on the play last time. He'll be on the play again. Starts off on Birds of Paradise. This time, though, Carpenter has kept a 7. Now, remember, there's no... They've chosen different types. Both game when there's very little interaction, and they've chosen different types of interaction for their sideboards. Brad is heavy on removal spells, whereas Ely has boarded in a couple of Haymaker creatures, but actually does not have removal.
It's a little bit easier for these decks to find those creatures.
Right.
Court of Calling gives you very high access to Linvala. That said, Linvala can also be hit by Path to Exile.
Well, and there might be something to be said for if you're just a combo deck, sure, you could court out a hate piece, but it may not matter because you're going to be courting out, like, it's competing the same spot as courting out the combo. Like, you already have, if you already have a card to court out that wins the game, you don't need more versions of cards that win the game.
Not being able to company into Linvala is a strike against it.
Both players start on Birds of Paradise. Last game, it was Kassis who found the combo first. And for Carpenter, he'll play Devoted Druid. He may have a turn 3. You see, he's got at least one copy of Duskwatch Recruiter in hand. It looks like he may have a Collective Company as well. Yeah, Witness, Company, and Duskwatch. So
he's threatening a fast combo.
Yeah, if Company finds Vizier of Remedies, you see he adds Viscerous here. Yeah, that'll work. He just has it locked up. Brad playing 1 Walking Ballista as a combo piece. Kassis actually has 2, indicating that he doesn't mind just naturally drawing it.
Brad has a Ronus the Indomitable.
I like that.
As his pseudo Kessig Wolf run. You can't collect a company into Kessig Wolf run.
Yeah, he actually does not have Kessig Wolf run in his deck. Just Kassis.
A little bit harder for Brad to come by red mana.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have red cards in his deck.
Yeah, has to birds into that one.
Yeah. A clean sweep of the game 1's now finished for the team on the left as Nate Barton wins game 1 of the Grix Stelvermere over Harlan Fear. So it was a strong turn 2 for Carpenter. We'll see what Ely's response is. It's going to be Knight of the Reliquary. A powerful card for sure, though in this matchup, if it's all about a combo mirror, this card does not do much for that.
One thing about Ely Kassis having this card in his deck, he's played so much and had so much success with Retreat to Coral Helm, you have to kind of wonder if that's in his deck.
Yeah. Carpenter's going to go for the win here, collect a company. If he finds Vizier of Remedies, that will be the win. If he finds 6 lands, he found another one creature. It was another Devoted Druid.
That's exactly what he was looking for.
So, not yet. Ely gets a turn. Sigh there from Brad. Why can't it just be easy? Just, give me the combo, and then we're good.
Well, well, to be fair, he's kind of wondering, why can't my company just be acceptable? It's not even the matter of it being easy. That was just a very bad collected company.
He's going to use an extra mana off Devoted Druid. Looks like he's going to cast that Duskwatch Recruiter. But this opens the window for Ely to do something like Linvala, which that would be really hard for Brad to answer. He does not have one of his 3 Path to Exiles in his hand.
Yeah, Carpenter's in a bit of trouble. He does have Eternal Witness as a card in hand. He can potentially cast Collected Company again, utilizing that.
Yeah, so that would be really strong. And actually, next turn he'd have enough. I think
looks
he
like
will
he has
have
exactly
enough. Yeah, he has 7 mana, so he can do that. He's really hoping to dodge 3/4 Linvala.
One thing about shuffling and casting that Recruiter is he's taking those 5 cards he doesn't want off the bottom of his deck and putting them back in the mixed.
Yeah, he is doing that. that's not going to change the numbers on it too much. If he's actually just looking for one card, which is Vizier, adding 5 blanks back in maybe costs him about 2 to 3%.
Well, the real question is how significant is casting the Recruiter here?
Yes, I agree.
Which I don't think it is terribly significant.
You mean he's not using it next turn, for example?
Right.
Well, I guess if you have 8 lands, say if he draws a land next turn, he has 8 mana, right? Collected Companying looks at your top 6 cards. Recruiting twice looks at your top 6 cards. So, yeah, it seems fine. It's the same. It lets him preserve his Collected Company if that's a thing he's interested in.
That way he'd be able to sit as an Eternal Witness in case his combo was broken up. That makes some sense.
An attack there by Knight of the Reliquary Carpenter down to 9, and now it's Renegade Rallier bringing back the land for Kassis. He'll sack it again.
11 standard players. 11
You see Brad really not caring about his life total at the moment. I guess, does he have to be worried about dying to Kessig Wolf Run in a normal way? You know, just attack and Wolf Run my guy?
It's certainly a possibility. One thing about that is Ely doesn't currently have a Wolf Run, and if he wanted to Knight for it, he couldn't be attacking with the pumped Knight.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that much trample damage on the following turn, but in 2 turns it looks like he would be dead to Wolf Run.
Kassis' play there makes Rallier and Duskwatch Recruiter passes back to Brad Carpenter. So Ely will get to untap with 6 mana and Recruiter. He's very far from the combo, but he is bringing the beats. And Carpenter, Eternal Witness, bringing back Company. Looks like cast Company. If this finds Vizier, it's Carpenter's game. He doesn't have much in the way of, I guess. Well, he has Viscera Seer in play. So, yeah, what he's going to do is with that Company on the stack, he's going to hold priority, sacrifice his Eternal Witness to scry 1. He really I'm wondering if he's going to top anything other than Vizier of Remedies here. And that's what he's thinking now, too. He found a card that's good but not Vizier. He'll keep it on top. It was Kitchen Finks. And he found the Vizier in the top 6.
Well, all right.
That should be, yeah, he'll just put that one in play. Vizier and Finks. So now he can also gain infinite life, but I think he'll just try to win. Devoted Druid plus Vizier of Remedies. Makes infinite mana. Duskwatch Recruiter. Infinite mana. It's going to keep going through the top 3 of his deck. Ely just says, show me the Walking Ballista. He does, and that'll kill him. So Brad Carpenter returns the favor of infinite mana plus Ballista, and they're going to go to a 3rd game.
This does not look like a very fun mirror to play.
This deck looks gross. I don't know. I was wondering whether or not Almoncat was going to change up Modern. This feels like yes.
I have a lot of anxiety about the existence of these decks and playing a deck that doesn't play Lightning Bolt.
Well, yeah. Unlike Abzan Company, the Viscera Seer combo build could have turn 3s, but they couldn't turn 3 you. A Relic of Progenitus would be good enough, or any piece of graveyard hate. The scary one about this is that these players' decks seem very capable of producing a turn 3 win, and there's not that much hate that deals with it.
They're very redundant, and they have tools like Collected Company and Eternal Witness to build card advantage. So while a Lightning Bolt to Fatal Push breaks up the turn 3, it doesn't get you anywhere near out of the woods.
Yeah, right. So if my plan is to play a bunch of Lightning Bolts against your Collected Company, Renegade Rallier, Eternal Witness deck, I bet you're okay with that.
It's always been true in Modern that the primary objective should be to remove the opposing player from the game. You can have all the removal you want. You have to kill your opponent.
Right. It's just they have so many ways of recurring these creatures that, yeah, sure, kill spell them. Go for it. This deck seems like it's a major player in the format.
Yes.
So they're going to side up for a 3rd game. Now, interestingly, we didn't see any sideboard cards from either player, so they're still guessing as to what they're going to see out of their opponent.
Right. Yeah, Modern is not a win eventually kind of format.
Well, I just wonder how you play control against this. Right, between Renegade Rallier, there's 4 witnesses. Look at Ely's deck. 4 Eternal Witnesses, a Renegade Rallier, or sorry, this is Carpenter's deck. He has, both of them have 4 and 1 on Witness Rallier. They switched which one they think is better. So they have 5 recursion effects.
Yep.
They have 4 companies and 4 chords. Yeah, it's going to be hard to kill spell them out. Starting with Ely Kassis, he'll have Noble Hierarch. And for the first game, it's an advantage of the Birds of Paradise effect. Brad has not have one in his opener.
And Brad has a Collected Company as well, so take him a little bit longer to cast that one.
Looks like Brad does have Vizier of Remedies. And in a matchup that's as much about combo turning as this, I wonder whether or not you either have to have the combo in your opener or have a mana creature.
You're so light on interaction.
Yeah, you can't. You just got to go fast. And if you don't, those are the 2 ways to do it. Duskwatch Recruiter, the turn 2 play from Kassis, that in a tapped land. Anafen's Akintree Spirit, the draw for Brad Carpenter. He'll shock down to 17. Devoted Druid would be quite a play here. And yeah, so it looks like the reason Brad kept a hand without a Hierarch or a Bird is that he has Druid and a Vizier in his hand.
I think that is more than good enough.
Agreed. It's
a lot of pressure on Kassis to have that Linvala right now.
If it's a combo race, that's a turn 3. That's acceptable. I don't think this deck can mulligan to turn 2s. I wanted to even have a turn 2.
No,
their mana. You need 4 mana.
Right, their fast mana is all permanent. They don't have Simian the Spirit Guide.
That's the first place I was like, how do we get Simian Spirit Guide in their deck?
Yet.
Kassis is going to play a land, and he actually just says go. He flips his Duskwatch Recruiter.
He's up to something.
Yeah.
He's just holding up Collected Company, I have to imagine.
Well, Brad's got to think. Does he go for it? He's got infinite mana. He has Vizier of Remedies. If he gets his infinite mana, then he has Collected Company in hand. That could be a turn 3 win. Plays Gavony Township. These games have not even been close to slow enough for that to matter.
No, that's not what this is about. That's for different matchups. That's for your Jun-style opponents.
Here's the Vizier. All right, Ely's chance to respond here. It looks like he has Company and Chord. So for Chord targets, remember we have the access to that sideboard. He does have Harsh Mentor. He could get that now. He'll 5 mana. Yeah, it's going to be in response Chord for 2.
Yeah, I imagine that Mentor would be the find here.
If he's boarded in, yeah, I believe so. And that, yeah, you see the red 2-drop up to the top of the deck there. It's going to be Harsh Mentor. This is another card out of Amonkhet. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land that isn't a mana ability, they take 2. Now, Devoted Druid's first ability is a mana ability, but the ability that lets it untap itself, that one's not a mana ability. Now, this doesn't necessarily stop Brad yet. He can make mana... he can make 8 mana if he wants to this turn. He could untap it. We can make it actually more 9. He could untap it 6 times.
What could he do with 9 mana?
Well, he's got this Chord of Calling.
He has Chord and Company. He could Chord for say, Fiend
Hunter
Hunter
and
get
keep
the Mentor
going.
off the table, and then hope the Company's good.
Yeah, which this is what I'm wondering whether Harsh Mentor was going to be good enough for this reason. Right, he can take a boatload of damage as long as he wins this turn. Brad Carpenter does play a Fiend Hunter. I assume it's still in the deck.
That'd be a weird one to board out.
Yeah, you see he has Company and Chord. So, 1 mana. He needs 5. So, untaps it, goes to 15. 2 mana. Untaps it, goes to 13. 3 mana. Untaps it, goes to 11.
He conferred with Harlan there for a minute. I believe that they landed on Collected Company first. Or no, this looks like Cord because he can tap the Vizier.
4, 5, 6. So this is company for 3. And yeah, that Ely had his reply. Now we'll see if it's good enough. There is something being left up to chance, though. So he chords for Fiend Hunter. Fiend hunts away the Harsh Mentor. Now with the Mentor gone, Devoted Druid can make as much mana as it wants. So this Collected Company needs to hit Duskwatch Recruiter or Walking Ballista. He's got 1 Ballista and just 1 Recruiter, though.
If he hits Ballista, it just goes to the bin. If he found Ballista,
right.
Eternal Witness.
What if he hits nothing?
That's bad.
He just hit Viscera Seer and Noble Hierarch.
Carpenter is not great at these Collected Companies.
No. Oh, my. Not really good. Doesn't have a choice here. Takes the pair of 1-drops. Looks like we're still playing.
He's still at a pretty reasonable life total, and Ely still does not have a combo piece on the table. So he has that going for him.
Now, what if Ely just has a way to remove Fiend Hunter? Get that 2-drop back in play.
That would be really bad news for Carpenter.
I guess he could Eternal Witness back the Fiend Hunter, maybe, something like that. It's a lot of mana, though.
Doesn't look like Ely actually has an answer to Fiend Hunter outside of Giant Walking Ballista.
Okay, so as long as we'll see what Ely can do. He's going to untap. Duskwatch Recruiter did flip back. Brad had played 2 spells that turn.
And even with a land drop, he would be 1 shy of a Ballista for 3. Now, if the Recruiter was still on the backside, 5 mana could cast a Ballista for 3, but Carpenter cast 2 spells.
So Ryan, that last turn, if Carpenter had found Ronus, that actually would have also won that turn.
You could untap the Devoted Druid.
Make it big.
That creature, to my knowledge, does not have Defender, despite being a 0/2.
So some updates here. While there was a sweep there in game 1, it looks like we had a sweep back in the game 2s. All 3 matches heading to 3. Fear, Carpenter, and Aintrazi all equalizing.
Brad's looking for some help from the top of his deck in this matchup, but Ely has yet to present something that's close to a combo.
Yeah, if he needs to, remember, Brad does have that Viscera Seer. That could give him a couple extra scries.
Unlikely that he will sacrifice the Fiend Hunter to the Viscera Seer.
Yeah, that one's unlikely. I mean, I think if he had the Seer in play before, he would have sacrificed it so that the Mentor never came back. Yeah, I don't think... I agree with you. I don't think that would happen. I guess he could make infinite mana and then sacrifice the Fiend. Like in his yeah, it's probably just so bad. He could make a bunch of mana and then sacrifice it.
Yeah, the only reason to do that, because your mana would empty in your upkeep, you would have to have like a Horizon Canopy and need to draw something right there.
Yeah.
Also, you can't Ballista kill your opponent when they have Harsh Mentor. You can Ballista it for 2, so as long as he still has 5 life, he can start that chain.
Right. See some frustration there on Kassis' side. He has not found a line that he likes just yet. If you're in Kassis' spot, I assume this is like might be his last turn, right?
Yes.
It feels likely that he's got to try to win this. If there's a line, he needs to play towards some kind of win this turn, something that could result in the combo.
Right. Even if you have a line that looks like it sets up a combo on your next turn, you want to see if you can do better. Carpenter still has some cards you don't know about in his hand. He has an infinite mana combo off the table. That's very concerning.
Collected Company is going to be the play for Kassis. He doesn't main phase. See what he hits. Looks like a bunch of fair cards. He got his own Vizier of Remedies, and it looks like a Knight of the Reliquary. Yeah, those 2 will be in play. But that's almost nearly all his mana. He's still leaving up 1. Actually, make that 0. He'll just cast Birds of Paradise. So, shields down.
Worth knowing, Ely technically has half of a combo, but he doesn't have the half that you want to be the first half. He can't just cast Devoted Druids and then make infinite mana.
Oh, right, because it has Summoning Sickness. I mean, Ely may not have the win on the untap even if he gets one.
Right.
Upkeep, we're going to see on Brad's turn looks like a Gavany Township activation. And then he's going to sacrifice Noble Hierarch. What's Brad up to?
He wanted to scry, and that was easy access to white mana is my read.
Yeah, he scried to the top, though, so that's not good if you're an Ely Kassis fan.
No.
Okay, it was Collected Company, sure.
Certainly good enough to keep on top.
So Ronus and Duskwatch Recruiter are both lethal here.
Alternatively, the specific combination of Ballista Eternal Witness.
Yeah, there's also, we see Kitchen Finks here.
Actually,
hold on, that's Infinite Life.
Witness is lethal on its own because he has Court of Calling in his graveyard. He could find
and he has
Recruiter.
infinite mana? Yeah, I like that. How about 2 Eternal Witnesses? Double checking.
This is my sideboard.
Okay, okay.
What cards are in my deck?
Kitchen Finks Eternal Witness should do it. So on Ely's side, there's no open mana. There's only 3 open creatures, so Chord for 0 is all you're playing around. Yeah, targets Court of Calling. This looks pretty easy. Chord can go find Walking Ballista.
Ely also playing with red mana. You shouldn't be concerned about a Slaughter Pact.
Now there's Birds of Paradise. And there we go. No, shows the Ballista, Duskwatch, and Brad Carpenter is going to win the match 2-1 over Ely Kassis in the Counters Company Mirror. So the first match goes over to Brad's team. They win that one 2-1. He takes both sideboarded games. A new deck in Modern, the same new deck from both players. Now their builds are very different, but this deck looks really powerful right now.
And I have to imagine that the Obzon build is a little bit more robust than Ely's build. Ely has the Nether Reliquary package, which makes him a little bit better at Collected Company. He can have some weird Kessig Wolf Run games. I'm more partial to Gavany Township myself, and Brad also has multiple ways to combo that are just creature activations.
In the Mirror, which we played there, I don't think Nether Reliquary does Ely any favors. There was the idea that one player was going to win by attacking, just that didn't seem on the table.
Right. If at all possible, players are looking for hands that can combo on turn 3.
Right, and so Brad's up there. We'll see maybe going in the tournament against fair decks. Neither the Reliquary could do very well for Ely. But we're going to try to get one of these other matches in just a second here. We're going to go over to Legacy. So this is a Grixis Delver Mirror. I know. This is going to be Harlan Fear versus Nate Barton. Both players deciding to play Grixis Delver this weekend. Now, in these Delver Mirrors, these games, I really love this matchup, especially post-sideboard.
Yes. You won't see too much Force of Will post-sideboard. Frequently, you'll even some number because True Name Nemesis is such a high-impact card. But this is just a lot of 1-for-1ing and playing for position.
All right, we're going to go at you. This is already underway. It's Harlan Fear and Nate Barton in the deciding game. So Barton on 20, Fear on 17. We're catching this one early in the game. Remember, Barton was on the play here, so we're on Fear's second turn. Looks like we've had some trading of Lightning Bolts and Deathrite Shamans to start things out. Barton now on his third turn. Both players are developing their mana. No Wastelands have been played yet on either side. There is at least one in Fear's hand, however.
In the early game, when you have land drops and action, you don't want to Wasteland until you're convinced it's going to be impactful. Frequently enough, it's fine to just brainstorm it away.
Barton's going to delve away his entire graveyard for a copy of Gurmag Angler. Now, he waited until now to do it because he left up a volcanic island so that this would be able to resolve through a card like Daze.
Could pay 1. In these post-sideboard games, likely has access to some number. He has 2 Pyroblasts in his sideboard. That one's great for fighting counter wars, also for catching True Name Nemesis on the way down.
You can see Harlan drawing a Daze there. So now he's going to have to try to remove it. Does have a pair of Lightning Bolts. He's going to waste away Harlan's Volcanic Island. So Harlan cut off, or Nate's off red mana for right now. Looks like, is that a copy of Fire Covenant in Nate Barton's hand?
It's a spicy one. And yeah, there's one in the sideboard.
I think that's in his hand. Harlan will cast a Deathrite Shaman and then pass. He has a Lightning Bolt, a Pyroblast, a Brainstorm, a Daze. So it looks like this is the card in Nate Barton's hand. For 3 mana, divide X damage any way you choose among any number of creatures where X is equal to the amount of life that you want to pay.
Really bizarre design. You know, there's no restriction for mana on the Fire Covenant. You just choose a number of life to pay.
Yeah. Nate hits Harlan down to 11, but Nate misses a land drop here. Remember that volcanic island you're seeing there is in the graveyard.
And here you see the patience by Fear on that Wasteland paying dividends. He waited until Barton got to a position where he had 3 lands. Barton chose double black. Harlan took him off red.
Right now Harlan is still taking damage and chooses his cantrip carefully. He had 2 Ponders and a Brainstorm. He starts on Brainstorm, actually. And it looked like drawing 3. He did not hit a land on any of these. He's got a lot of tools, but he has no way to answer the Angler just yet. I'm not sure he can go to 6.
There's a young Pyromancer in the holdings there. Over time, that can become a way to easily manage the Gurmag Angler if it's able to stick around.
Yeah, now this turn, he can't, however, go Pyromancer plus Spell. So he'll go for Delver of Secrets. I'm wondering if that's just a chump blocker at the moment.
From 11, there's an argument for it, though Barton is currently off red.
Okay. And it's going to be Brainstorm there by Nate Barton. If he finds red, Fire Covenant is online. He does not find a land either, though, so both players are going to be playing short on resources here. I would assume land is what Nate was wanting here.
Yeah, fetch land or a volcanic island
Right.
to unlock some of this stuff in his hand. Being able to cast that 3-mana Plague Land in his hand is certainly where he wants to be.
Gitaxian Probe. So it looks like this was an upkeep Brainstorm. Now
It was a main phase.
Main phase Brainstorm, yeah, casting Gitaxian Probe. But this is just going to get him a card he already knows about. He is Brainstorm locked for this draw and the next draw step.
The probe helps him fight a little bit of that, but yes, he does have to draw these 2 cards again. The probe knocks some time off of that Brainstorm lock clock.
He does have another Brainstorm, so now that he's probed, is it worth... He's got a choice already. It looks like he has... Is it worth going for that? He is playing into Daze at that point.
For which spell?
Another Brainstorm.
It would be very aggressive to Brainstorm here. He already knows one of the cards on top. That always feels really bad. He doesn't have to hit on this turn either. You don't want your Fire Covenant to be dazed, however. So
That's
getting
true.
that out of Harlan's hand would be nice.
He's going to use the other probe.
Kind of the issue, though, is knowing about the 1 card, the Brainstorm might not even be something that Harlan tries to daze.
Yeah, Barton, and we know that there's no lands yet. Looking over at Harlan's hand, he does have Lightning Bolt, True Name Nemesis, Young Pyromancer, a Daze, and a Pyroblast.
This is a pretty nice hand. He's a bit choked on mana, though, and still needs to deal with that Gurmag Angler officially.
Yeah, I mean, Barton, with a copy, it looks like a Forked Bolt in his hand, was trying to hit red to take care of Deathrite Shaman this turn, to try to keep the mana even here.
And the following turn, Harlan will have his choice. He could cast either the True Name Nemesis or the Young Pyromancer.
Nate has gone down to 14 from that pair of probes. Discussing it now with teammate here, Ely Kassis. And it looks like he will pass after hitting Fear down to 6. Deathrite Shaman will end step exile a land out of Barton's yard, and it looks like Lightning Bolt just going upstairs.
Yeah, Harlan's getting aggressive here.
Barton down to 11. I do like that. Does Delver flip? It does off Ponder. And why not?
No, this is a decision point here for Harlan. The True Name Nemesis both blocks the Gurmag Angler and presents significant pressure. He has to be concerned about getting dazed.
Right, because he can't daze back. There's an open mana on Barton's side, so he's just going to go the safe route of Young Pyromancer. That one, he can pay for a daze.
It's a more solvable problem for Barton, but it's still, it's daze-proof. He has spells that he can cast on top of it.
Right.
And they can chump block the Gurmag Angler after making a token off of one of these spells.
What I'm interested in is, after doing this play, is Harlan going to attack with Delver?
I have to assume that's what's coming. If you're lightning bolting your opponent end step.
Yeah. I mean, we see a Brainstorm from Barton in response to the Pyromancer. That finds him 2 lands. That's a very welcome set of draws. A fetch land and a just volcanic island, so he's all set up.
Barton still wants to get that daze out of Fear's hand, though.
Yeah, right. He can't Fire Covenant yet because of the daze, and if he takes one more hit, he probably can't Fire Covenant ever.
Right. Yeah, well, the card is the sort of thing you wouldn't print anymore because you can just name any amount of life, and that's kind of nonsense. You do run out of life eventually.
To the main stage for draft number 2, please. Timothy Maines to the main stage for draft number 2, please.
Yeah, it looks like he's putting the Covenant away. No time for that card anymore. He does have Forked Bolt in hand, and that may just be the better card anyway.
And this Grim Lavamancer
Oh,
is
maybe
looking at, that one's not going to be good enough in this kind of game.
He's close on just burn, but yeah, it looks like Land and Lavamancer go back. All right. He says that Pyromancer resolves. Now Harlan continues. Deathrite Shaman will make another mana. He'll cast Ponder, make an elemental. Harlan really wants to find a land here. He does not, but he finds another daze. Maybe that's good enough.
Second daze is pretty strong here.
Yeah,
and the things he's looking for, mana-producing land, wasteland, daze, those are probably his 3 top contenders.
So he will take the daze and then swings on in. Yeah, double checks. Does he swing in? Looks like the answer is yes. He'll put Barton down to 8. Hoping to win next turn. Draw is Volcanic Island for Barton. Right now, the board looks really nice for a card like Forked Bolt. I guess, though, because Harlan will daze it, he still has a blocker.
Right.
This Young Pyromancer, as you mentioned, keeping Gurmag Angler in check. So he's going to confer back here with Kassis, the two of them trying to get this one. Now remember, if Nate Barton can't win this game, then that's going to be the whole match.
Right.
Carpenter already did win the match in Modern against Kassis. Clock is correct, just under 7 minutes remaining in the round. Game 3 here for the Grixis Delver players. Also in Game 3 are Ted Feleceti and Ali Aintrazi.
And the way that these decks are composed, there's really nothing outside of that Fire Covenant that generates wild swings on the board. This game should only take a few turns from here.
Looks like Kassis actually has moved over to the standard match. Currently, he's working with Feleceti. So Barton on his own here in Legacy. Adding up just. It doesn't look like Barton can push the damage here to win. And if that's not true, he has to take a control route where he has to stop Harlan's damage sources.
Right.
He's not set up to do that particularly well.
Yeah, he has some consideration here. You know, what happens if I Fire Covenant and he dazes? Can I recover from that spot with my Gurmag Angler as a blocker? It doesn't look like that's the case.
Right.
So the question is, if we commit to Fork Bolt, what is the follow-up? What is Harlan's immediate reaction?
I think that's why Fire Covenant is actually the top card of Barton's deck right now. He put it away on the Brainstorm for that exact reason. He saw the line last turn and said, that's just not going to work. Now, the problem is he'll draw. He has 2 lands in hand. He has a fetch land and a volcanic island. If he doesn't use the fetch land, he's going to draw Fire Covenant, which is
he
bad.
already has redrawn it.
Oh, he already has redrawn it.
That was his draw step for this turn.
Oh, okay.
That's that funky gold card towards the back of his hand.
The one that you don't recognize, that's the Fire Covenant.
Yeah.
He has a Daze of his own. On Barton's side, we see Daze, Covenant, True Name Nemesis, Forked Bolt. Oh, yeah, the top card, he ended up putting the Grim Lavamancer back as the top card. That's his next draw.
That one was completely untenable.
Yeah, I guess it's a blocker for young Pyromancer. I don't
It looks like Barton's strongly considering just playing into Daze.
Yeah, well, he has a Daze of his own, so it looks good from his side of the table. Now he's going to be he's going to be very disappointed. He will, I believe, lose on this play. But I don't know, that's why that second Daze, you saw Harlan just, put 2 pretty bad cards on the top of his deck just so he could have second Daze, because it is that good.
You have to be wondering what kind of things Harlan is looking for with the makeup of the hand left over. He didn't make a land drop immediately, so it makes sense that Harlan would keep a Daze. And Barton does go for the Fork Boat there on the Pyromancer. Harlan does Daze once, gets his token.
So the players are actually going to speed this one up, as Aintrazi did win the standard game. So the match is going to go for Fear, Carpenter, and Aintrazi. These players are going to, you see, like, speed clock it on in.
And Barton paid for the Daze, attack with the Gurmag Angler, ran into the Pyromancer token that was made off the Daze.
All right, so go back over to Fear. He untaps. Going to replay the land that he put back in his hand. He drew Ponder for the turn.
Can currently deal 5 damage with his battlefield of Insightful Aberration and Deathrite Shaman activation. Alternatively, casting True Name Nemesis to get in front of the Gurmag Angler is probably the line that he's going to go for.
So Insectile Aberration hits Nate Barton down to 5. Then Harlan uses his red mana source to cast Ponder. That does take down the Pyroblast, interestingly enough. Sees 3 cards. None of them are lands. None of them are spells, but another Angler's okay, yeah.
Gurmag Angler's pretty nice. He doesn't really want to draw the Pyromancer, but the game should be over before he gets 3 cards deep.
Yeah, but Gurmag Angler plays into Daze on Barton's side.
The Deathrite Shaman is still untapped for Führer, however.
So he can pay.
And Barton doesn't go for the Daze there. We're back at Barton's turn.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move away from the game as the match has ended. So it is going to be Fear, Carpenter, and Aintrazi going to win that one 2-1. They are going to move to 2-0 right now in the tournament. All right, so we still have a lot more action here. We saw, first of all, what looks like a really strong contender here in Modern.
Yes.
We had that in our Modern match.